y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my September anticipated releases, and there are so many this month. This might have to be split into 2 videos. We'll see how it goes. First we have sequels, and September 1st in the UK, it's 3 sequels. The second in the Dreadwood series by Jennifer Killick. This is Fear Ground, and this was sent to me by FORCHUK books. Thank you so much. And I'm reading the first one now, and it's already so spooky, so I'm so excited to finish that and then get to this one. And then the 4th on the Eerie on the Sea series by Thomas Taylor, Festergrim. Just sounds and looks amazing. I'm all caught up until that book, so I'll be able to read it. And then Utterly Dark series by PHILBRICK. I love the first one, and the second one looks amazing. Utterly Dark and The Heart of the... So very excited for all 3 of those. Also on September 1st in the UK, The Spell Tailors by James Nichol. HAHN dreams of becoming a spell tailor, stitching magic into clothing like his beloved Nana. But thanks to new factories, spell tailors were struggling. His Uncle Bertie's fancy shop has shut down, and when he, Aunt Lucia, and stuck-up Cousin Connie move in, it's a disaster for all the family. Then HAHN stumbles upon a new kind of stitch, one which causes Nana and Bertie to ban him from sewing. What is the power of the stitch that can sew memories into clothes, and could it be the very thing to save them all? That sounds so good. Also on September 1st, The Light Thieves by Helena Duggan. I love A Place Called Perfect series by her, so I'm so excited she finally has something else coming out. Who would you trust to save the world, a boy or a billionaire? The earth has shifted on its axis, and a mysterious dark mark has appeared on the sun. The whole world is in peril, but billionaire tech genius Howard Handsome has a plan. When Grian's sister goes missing, he's convinced she has run off to Handsome's new city to help save the world. But when Grian and his 2 friends, Jeffrey and Shelley, track her there, they find that nothing is quite as it seems. Why is everything so secret? Where is the mysterious Area 13? What does Howard Handsome want with all the people he has enticed to live in his city? The days are getting darker, but what's really happening to the sun? And it's in a new eco-adventure series, so it's going to be another series from her, so I'm very excited. Also on September 1st in the UK, The Whisperling by Haley Haskins. I mean, everything about this. A ghostly adventure, yes. Dark and dangerous Victorian world, yes. Perfect for fans of Emma Carroll, Robin Stevens, and Jeannie Spangler. Yes, yes, yes. When you're dead, you're dead. When you're gone, you're gone. Unless, of course, you're not, and that's where I came in. The year is 1897, and Peggy Devona can speak with ghosts. She hides her gift from those afraid of a girl with such powers, terrified of the secrets the dead could reveal through her. But when her best friend is accused of murdering her rich mistress, Peggy knows only she, a Whisperling, can save her. Peggy escapes to her uncle's psychic emporium in the city, seeking out new ghosts to help her solve Sally's case. Yet time is running out, and each step towards uncovering the truth also brings Sally one step closer to the gallows. I've been so excited about that one for so long. Also on September 1st in the UK, The Elemental Detectives by Patrice Lawrence. Step into a London lit up by the elemental spirits, the fiery dragons, the airy fumus, the watery chads, and the earthbound magogs. But humans have been causing chaos for centuries, trampling through the landscape, trailing noise, mess, and pollution. What if the elements could slow down this new world or stop it altogether? The revenge-fueled shepherdess who moves between the everyday and supernatural London worlds is the perfect weapon. She brings a sleeping sickness down on the city with the destruction of society in her sights. Marseille and Robert are the elemental detectives chasing clues to avoid catastrophe. They must face the ghost of Hyde Park, the monstrous cold snake of the Serpentine, and a whole host of other fantastical creatures in their mission to stop the shepherdess and prevent London slumbering for all eternity. So excited. Also on September 1st in the UK, The Tree Keepers by Kieran Larwood. Here comes the roots of the shadow tree. Whatever they touch will never get free. Liska lives in Aberben, a city surrounding an extraordinary tree that gives all those living there special powers. As a shapeshifter, Liska is training as a warrior. When she discovers that the tree is under threat, it is her duty to act, but she can't convince anyone to listen to her. So with Lug, whose power over earthworms is dismissed as useless, and a ghost girl, Elowen, she goes on an epic journey to defeat the worst threat the world has ever known. Sounds amazing, and it's so beautiful. And I'm realizing I kind of sound sick, but I'm not. I've just been crying. So, sorry. Also on September 1st in the UK, Into the Goblin Wood by Anna Kemp. Are you ready to enter the Goblin Wood? Hazel has always known she was different, but she doesn't know where she came from. When her best friend Pete is kidnapped by strange creatures, she must gather her courage and enter Goblin Wood, a forest inhabited by fairies. But their magic is being drained away, and Hazel soon realizes that her own power is the key to saving both Pete and her new friends. Embarking on an epic journey of discovery, can Hazel restore the balance of the fairy realm? So excited. Also on September 1st in the UK, The Mooncatcher's Rescue by Karen Lamb. Treasure isn't always where you expect to find it. River likes to go moon catching, sweeping his net across the reflection of the night sky in the village pond. But when he accidentally wakes the ghost of Mona Brightly, River must find Mona's lost treasure before the ghost of the dastardly pirate Dashbuckle gets there first. Sounds so amazing. I love the name River too. I love River Phoenix, and he was one of my crushes when I was young. That's such a sad story. But also on September 1st in the UK, How to Be More Hedgehog by Anne-Marie Conway. Lily has a stammer. The signal between her brain and her mouth is all messed up, and it's getting worse. When a video of her practicing her class presentation is uploaded on YouTube, head thrust forward, eyelids fluttering, lips stretched wide, Lily's nightmare begins. Cyberbullying, kids at school whispering, even best friend Mia laughing behind her back. Lily's confidence takes a nosedive, and she can only see one way out: run away to Dad in Scotland and start all over again. But Lily quickly realizes that running away isn't the answer, that her stammer will follow her wherever she goes. Sounds like it's going to be a story with important themes. Also on September 1st in the UK, The October Witches by Jennifer Classen. There's so much to love about October. Halloween, pumpkin everything, and magic. Especially magic. But for nervous young witch Clemmy, this October might see the stars descend on her for the first time, bringing with them a whole month of chaotic new power. She spent 12 years watching her mom, aunts, and cousin receive their October power and knows that for the Merlins, magic can get very messy. And there are those who want to harness their magic and make it last beyond October. It's a bold experiment until Clemmy and her coven find themselves in mortal danger. What price must be paid for magic that never ends, or for having magic at all? Cannot wait for that. Editing Belle. I forgot a few when I filmed this. I'm going to put them in. I have two for September 1st I forgot, and then one for September 6th, so I'm going to put the ones for September 1st in here. September 1st in the UK, Spooked, The Theater Ghost by Stephen Butler. There's nothing out of the ordinary about 10-year-old Ella Griffin. Nothing at all, until she's forced to move to the seaside town of Codsbottom. And everything changes. In the search of adventure, Ella just stumbles into an old abandoned theater, but all is not as it seems. Because the theater isn't empty, it's haunted by weird and wonderful ghosts, and they need her help to save them. So excited for that. Also on September 1st in the UK, Unraveler by Frances Hardinge. In a world where anyone can cast a life-destroying curse, only one person has the power to unravel them. Kellen does not fully understand his unique gift, but helps those who are cursed, like his friend Nettle, who was trapped in the body of a bird for years. She is now Kellen's constant companion and his closest ally. But the Unraveler carries a curse himself, and unless he and Nettle can remove it, Kellen is a danger to everything and everyone around him. She's listed as young adult, but also I've seen upper middle grade at places. And just like with most of her books, I just consider it upper middle grade. The character's 15, and I consider 14, 15 upper middle grade. And there's no romance, so very excited for that. Moving on to September 6th in the US, the third in the Whispering Pines series, which is a favorite of mine, and I've read the first two. So the third, Reckoning by Heidi Lang and Katie Bartowski. So excited, I cannot wait for that to come out. And then the third, Witches of Brooklyn, Some More Magic by Sophie Escabase, which was sent to me. Thank you so much to Random House, Graphic Random House Kids. And I'm reading it right now. I just started it because I flew through the first two, but I wanted to mention those. Also, I've already read the synopsis in a book haul, so I won't read it again. Ghostlight by Kenneth Opel. That just sounds like such a spooky good read, and I am so excited to read that very, very, very soon. And then kind of an extra, on September 6th in the US, The School for Good and Evil Ruled Journal. It's School for Good and Evil, so by Solomon Shinani, so very excited about that. Also on September 6th in the US, Adrift by Tanya Guerrero. Cousins Coral and Issa are so close that they're practically siblings. Their mothers are sisters, and the two girls grew up on the same small island. When Coral and her parents leave on a months-long sea voyage amid the islands of Indonesia, Issa is devastated that they'll be kept apart, and the two vow to write to each other no matter what. Then the unthinkable happens, and Coral's boat capsizes at sea, where her parents vanish. Washed up on a deserted island alone and racked by grief, she must find the strength within to survive and find her way back home. Meanwhile, Issa is still on Pebble Island, the only one holding out hope that her beloved cousin is still alive. Sounds like such a powerful story. Also on September 6th in the US, We Own the Sky by RODMAN PHILBRICK. It's Maine, 1924, and the Ku Klux Klan is on the rise. Davy and Joe McCall have been recently orphaned. Taken in by a distant relative, a famous aviator, they are now working with a group of stunt pilots who spend their time wing walking, leaping from plane to plane, and flying through fireworks. But though the stunts are dangerous, the real threat is building behind the scenes. The KKK is on the rise in Maine that summer, inspired by the racial fears promoted in Birth of a Nation. They spew hatred of immigrants, blacks, Jews, and French Catholics. That last, a rage that will be directed at Davy and Joe. When Davy and Joe cross paths with the clan, they get tangled up in a terrible revenge plan and held as hostages. Can they escape with their lives? I don't think I've ever read a middle grade that talks about the KKK, so I'm very intrigued by this and what the author does with it. And also on September 6th in the US, Best Wishes by Sarah MLYNOWSKI. Becca Singer is having the worst day ever. Her best friend Harper dumped her, and Becca is totally friendless and alone. Then the box arrives in the mail. Inside the box, one bracelet plus a mysterious note telling Becca to make a wish. So Becca puts on the bracelet. Why not, right? And wishes to have friends. Lots of friends. So many friends. And just like that, the magic works. Suddenly, everyone wants to be Becca's BFF. From all the kids at school to the teachers to her own mom. As things spin out of control, Becca starts to wonder, is this wish a curse? It says it's going to be a series too, so I'm very excited. That just sounds so unique. Also on September 6th in the US, The Curse on Spectacle Key by Chantel Acevedo. Frank Fernandez's family never stays in one place for long. His parents renovate unusual buildings and turn them into homes, which means the family moves a lot. This makes it hard for bookish Frank to make friends. So when his parents announce they're moving to Spectacle Key, Florida to live in a lighthouse, this time for good, Frank is thrilled. But Spectacle Key isn't the perfect forever home they'd imagine. The lighthouse is falling apart, there are knocks on the door, but no one is there. A mysterious sighs and sniffles from nowhere. There's even a creepy doll that seems to move on its own. Could Spectacle Key be haunted? One day while exploring, Frank meets a girl in old-fashioned clothes with no memory of who she is. What she does know, though, is that the island is under a curse, and she needs Frank's help to figure out how to lift it. But what if learning the truth about Spectacle Key means losing the first real friend he's ever had? I love that. I love Muse Squad by her. I'm very excited to read something else by her. Also on September 6th in the US, Ravenfall by Kaylin Josephson. 13-year-old Annabella Ballanque has never been normal, even by her psychic family standards. Every generation uses their abilities to help run the Ravenfall Inn, a sprawling magical B&B at the crossroads of the human world and the other world. But it's hard to contribute when your only power is foreseeing death. So when 14-year-old Colin Pierce arrives at Ravenfall searching for his missing older brother and the supernatural creature who killed their parents, Anna jumps at the chance to help, but the mysteries tied to Colin go much deeper than either of them expects. As the two team up to find answers, they unearth Colin's family's secret past and discover that Colin has powers beyond his imagination. And now the supernatural creature, one with eerie origins in Celtic mythology, is coming after him. If Anna and Colin can't stop the creature by Halloween night, the veil to the other world will be ripped open, which would spell destruction for the world as they know it. So already Halloween, perfect Halloween read. And it says Halloween Town meets Supernatural. So you have me at Halloween Town seeing Supernatural. I've never seen a lot of shows that many people just assume you've all seen. Sons of Anarchy, I think it's called. Never seen it. It's the one with the zombies. Never seen it. There's so many. Stranger Things, never seen it. Even movies, Lord of the Rings, never seen it. And the ones with the dragons and like the castles, whatever that one was, never seen it. There's just so many. Also on September 6th in the US, Winter Kill by MARSHA, FORCHUK, SKRYPUCH. Nila is just trying to stay alive. Ever since the Soviet dictator Stalin started to take control of farms like the one Nil's family lives on, there is less and less food to go around. On top of bad harvests and a harsh winter, conditions worsen until it's clear the lack of food is not just chance, but a murderous plan leading all the way to Stalin. Alice has recently arrived from Canada with her father, who is here to work for the Soviets, until Alice realizes that the people suffering the most are the ethically Ukrainian, like Nil. Something is very wrong, and Alice is determined to help. Desperate, Nil and Alice come up with an audacious plan that could save both of them and their community, but can they survive long enough to succeed? Known as the Holodomor, or death by starvation, Ukraine's famine genocide in the 1930s was deliberately caused by the Soviets to erase the Ukrainian people and culture. This author, I'm scared of saying her name wrong, but she brings this deeply resonant and remarkably timely historical world to life in a story about unity, perseverance, and a people's determination to overcome. It says, gripping and timely story set during the Holodomor in 1930s Ukraine introduces young readers to a pivotal moment in history and how it relates to the events of today. I was gonna say, yeah, because of Russia and Ukraine. Why do you want to wipe out a whole thing? Like, I just don't understand that. And I don't remember ever learning about this. So this has me very intrigued because I want to learn. I love history. I want to learn. I love learning it. I don't love things that have happened. And I don't think I've ever heard of this. I knew that Russia's always hated Ukraine for far back as I don't know how long, but it's just Also on September 6th in the US, Marina and the Kraken by Laura Magaziner. And it's a highly illustrated middle grade fantasy series. Pairing Day and Terra Familiar. Marina has been waiting for this moment, anxiously, for as long as she can remember, because today is the day she gets to bond with her animal familiar for life, like every other 10-year-old in the land. Except after the ceremony ends, Marina doesn't have one, and she's not alone. 4 other girls also didn't get their animal companions. The leaders of the Terra Familiar realize something special is happening. Marina and the other 4 girls, Kit, Ember, Pippa, and Haley, are called mythics. In times of unrest, the mythics must earn their mythical boost, in quest of courage. But danger lurks everywhere, and there are others seeking this mysterious power, and only the mythics can save Terra Familiar. That sounds so creative and imaginative. Also on September 6th in the U.S., it's going to be an expensive day. Naomi Teitelbaum Ends the World by Samara Schenker. Naomi Teitelbaum is so ready for her bat mitzvah. Her prayers are memorized, and she's definitely got a handle on her Torah portion. Well, almost. Then she gets a mysterious gift, a tiny clay golem. To Naomi's shock, it comes to life and obeys her every command. At first, the small magical helper seems like the best bat mitzvah gift ever. But with each command, the golem grows and gets harder to hide. And creepy, unnatural creatures like dibuks, demons, and a congregation of ghosts have started following Naomi around. To keep herself out of trouble and the golem out of harm's way, Naomi gives the golem well-intended instructions: save the world. Unfortunately, this leaves more room for interpretation than Naomi thought. Before long, the golem is wreaking havoc all over Los Angeles, and only Naomi and her friends can stop it. Every story I've ever read that involved like Jewish religion and culture and golems, I've always really enjoyed, so that just sounds so good. Also on September 6th in the U.S., Eden's Everdark by Karen Strong. I've been looking forward to this for so long, and that cover is so beautiful. Still grieving the loss of her mother, Eden visits Safina Island, her ancestral home, as a healing balm. But when she discovers an old sketchbook that belonged to her mother, she's haunted by the images she sees drawn there. A creepy mansion covered with roots and leaves, a monstrous dog with dagger-sharp teeth, and a tall woman with wind-blown hair and long, sharp nails who is beautiful as she is terrifying. Days later, exploring the island alone, Eden follows a black cat through a rift in the bright day. She stumbles into Everdark, a parallel world where the sun never rises, where spirits linger between death and the afterlife, and where everything from her mother's drawings is all too real, especially the witch of Everdark who wants to make Eden her eternal daughter. Can Eden find a way to defeat the witch's magic, or will she remain trapped in Everdark forever? I can't wait. I have books like 1 through 14, I think, of this series, but it's adapted into a graphic novel, so when I read those, I want to go right to the graphic novels, and the first 2 are coming out on September 6th in the U.S. You're invited to a creep over, so book 1 and then book 2. And they're by P.J. Knight. And then the synopsis. During a round of Truth or Dare, Abby Miller confesses her crush on Jake Chilson. The only people who know her secret are her friends at the sleepover and whoever sent her a text message in the middle of the night warning her to stay away from Jake, or else. But Abby isn't going to stay away from Jake, especially not after he asked her to the school dance. As the night of the dance comes closer, some very creepy things start happening to Abby. Someone definitely wants to keep her away from Jake. Is it a jealous classmate, or as Abby begins to suspect, could it be a ghost? And the art looks beautiful. So excited. Also on September 6th in the U.S., Always Clementine by Carly Sorosiak. Clementine is different from other mice. She can calculate the speed of light, and she dreams in Latin. The scientists say she's a genius and put her through test after test. Clementine is proud of being a good lab mouse, but she's lonely. Her only snatches of friendship occur during her late-night visits with a chimpanzee named Rosie. When a compassionate lab technician frees Clementine, the mouse discovers an outside world full of wonders. Brussels sprouts, games of speed chess, television fame, and a chance for a real home. But for Clementine, it's not enough to be free when she knows that Rosie and the other mice are not. I really want to read this, and it really sounds great. I just want to make sure that all the animals are okay. So on September 6th in the U.S., What We Saw by Mary Downing Hahn. When best friends Abby and Skylar witness a clandestine meeting between a mysterious woman and someone in a dark van, they're thrilled. Finally, a mystery to spice up the summer. Who could these people be? Why are they meeting? Are they spies? Criminals? The 2 girls are determined to find out, but then a local woman goes missing and is found dead in the woods, and Abby and Skylar realize that their detective work could hold the keys to solving her murder. Suddenly, sleuthing isn't so fun anymore. As tensions rise and their friendship frays, the girls find themselves in increasing danger and must choose between keeping a secret or exposing life-altering truth. I'm very intrigued by this author. I've said that many times, and this sounds so good. Also on September 6th in the U.S., Sarah Bolding's Guide to Vampire Hunting by Roseanne A. Brown. That looks like a Rick Riordan Presents book. For most kids, catching fireflies is a fun summer activity. For 12-year-old Sarah Bolton, it's a matter of life and death. That's because Sarah knows that some fireflies are really ads, shape-shifting vampires from the forests of southeastern Ghana. Ads prey on the blood of innocents, possessing their minds and turning them into hulking monsters, and for generations, slayers like Sarah and her parents have protected an unknowing public from their threats. Sarah is the best ad slayer her age, and she knows how to use a crossbow before she could even ride a bike. But when a Beafo, which destroys her childhood home while searching for a drum, do Sarah's parents take her with them on their quest to defeat her? No. Instead, they dump Sarah with her hippie aunt and cryptic, obsessed cousin in the middle of Nowheresville, Maryland. for her own safety. Now, instead of crossbows and battle armor, she's dealing with mean girls and algebra, and for the first time in her life, she doesn't have to carry a staff everywhere she goes, which is kind of nice, actually. Just as Serva starts to get the hang of this whole normal world who doesn't punch vampires every day thing, an ad's infiltrates her school. It's up to her to whip some of her classmates into monster fighting shape before all of them become firefly food. And when she uncovers a secret that upends everything she thought she knew about her family's role in the Slayer versus Ad's war, Serva will have to decide which side of herself, normal girl or Slayer, is the right one. I'm very happy that's finally coming out. So on September 6th in the US, Graveyard Girls, 1, 2, 3, 4, I Declare I Thumb More by Lacey Harrison and Danielle Cross. Misery Falls, Oregon is abuzz as the 100th anniversary of the electrocution of the town's most infamous killer, Silas Hoke, approaches. When a mysterious text message leads the girls to the cemetery where Silas Hoke is buried. My leg is asleep. Life can't get any creepier. Except yes, it can, thanks to the surprise storyteller who meets them at the cemetery. Inspires the first ever meeting of the Graveyard Girls and sets the stage for a terrifying tale from Whisper that they'll never forget. I'm so excited, and that cover is so gorgeous. Also on September 6th in the US, The Girl in White by Lindsay Curry. Mallory hasn't quite adapted to life in her new town of Eastport yet. Maybe it's because everyone is obsessed with keeping the town's reputation as the most cursed town in the US. And thanks to the nightmares she's had since arriving, Mallory hardly sleeps. Combined with the unsettling sensation of being watched, she quickly becomes convinced there's more to her town, something darker. When Mallory has a terrifying encounter with the same old woman from her dream, she knows she has to do something, but what? With Eastport gearing up to celebrate the anniversary of the first recorded legend, Mallory is forced to investigate the one legend she's always secretly been afraid of, Sweet Molly. I really enjoyed what I read by Lindsay Curry so far, so I'm excited for that to come out. Then on September 6th in the US, The Replacement by Lindsay Duga. Do the Dead Deserve Another Chance? Erin loves her new home in the country. She has a big bedroom that overlooks a beautiful garden, and there's even a treehouse in the backyard. Everything is perfect except for the ghost. At first, the ghost is nothing more than a nuisance, pulling Erin's hair, coloring on the walls, and getting Erin into heaps of trouble with her parents. But things become even stranger when Erin starts losing her memory. Sometimes it's only for a few minutes, and other times it's for a few days. It's almost as if she's fallen asleep. Erin is convinced the ghost has been taking over her body, but why? It's up to Erin to figure out how to quell the ghost before it can get her into even more trouble or worse. That sounds amazing. Editing Belle again, the one I forgot for September 6th. So in the US, I Know You're Lying by Daphne Benedis-Grab. There's been a theft at the middle school. Sasha's bag has been stolen from her locker. The security cameras on the school's front entrance captured 4 students entering the building early. Present at the time of the crime, Maddie, Jack, Nora, and Henry become top suspects. Each of them has a reason to dislike Sasha. Each of them has something to hide. But which of them is responsible for the break-in? And can they figure out who the thief is before Sasha gets her revenge on all of them? Sounds like such a great story. Cannot wait. Finally, on September 12th in the UK, The Lost Girl King by Catherine Doyle. Amy and Liam Bell have been packed off to stay at Grant's house in the wilds of Connemara for the summer. Out for a walk on the first morning of their holiday, they trace the flight of a hawk to a nearby waterfall, only to watch the bird disappear through it. Intrigued, the children follow and soon realize they've discovered the entrance to Nog, the legendary land of eternal youth, but they've been tricked. Almost immediately, Liam is captured by a troop of headless horsemen who take him to Tarlok, the ruling sorcerer of Nog, who is seeking the bones of a human child for a sinister new spell. So excited for that. And on September 13th in the US, The Lost Wonderland Diaries 2, Secrets of the Looking Glass by J. Scott Savage. Love the first one, and Shadow Mountain sent me an arc of this one, and I'm reading it right now and I'm loving it, so I'm so excited. Thank you so much. And then Ghost Hunters, the 4th book in Ghost Hunters by Susan McCauley, Swamp Witch. Love the first 3 books so much. I love this series, and the author is sending me a copy, so that's very nice of her. Thank you so much. I can't wait to read that. And ones I've read in the synopsis in a book haul, so I won't read them again. Flip Turns by Catherine Arguelles. It just sounds like such a great story, and Jellyfish Press sent me that. Thank you so much. And then The Whispering Fog by Londra Jennings, and the author had sent me an arc of that. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. That sounds so good. And on September 13th in the US, Meet Me Halfway by Anika Fajardo. Addie Gomez feels directionless after being uprooted from her beloved Minnesota and forced to move in with her new stepfamily in California. So when she meets a girl at her new middle school who looks exactly like her, she's not sure what to make of it. But her doppelganger, the popular Mercedes Miller, doesn't look like it one bit. Mercedes is used to getting what she wants, when she wants. Maddie would rather be invisible and blend into the background. Mercedes lives in a big empty house with her nanny. Maddie's new home is packed to the gills, 24/7 chaos. Mercedes has a short fuse. Maddie is a planner. Though they may look alike, the two of them couldn't be more different. Soon enough, however, Maddie and Mercedes learn they have at least one thing in common: a dad from Colombia that neither of them has ever met. Determined to meet the father they've never known, these polar opposites suddenly have to work together to fake sleepovers, evade their friends, and plot daring escapes from school field trips in an effort to track him down. If only they could stop bickering long enough to get the show on the road. So intrigued by that. So on September 13th in the U.S., Witch Test by Katie L. Carroll. Liza is sinking in a bubbling cauldron of middle school rumors. When the entire 8th grade begins studying the Salem witch trials, it seems everyone is on a witch hunt, with Liza as target number one. Worst of all, her ex-best friend is the one who started a rumor that Liza bewitched a boy with a love potion. As the bullying intensifies, Liza's loneliness grows. More than ever, she wishes her mother was still alive. A glimmer of hope arrives when Liza finds her mother's diary until she actually reads it. Turns out Liza's family's connection to witches goes far back for centuries. So much for the witch stuff being rumors. If Liza can channel her inner witch at the Halloween night corn maze, she might find the strength to stand up for herself. If not, she risks losing a piece of herself to a growing depression and any hope of happiness. Sounds like a good witchy Halloween story. So on September 13th in the U.S., Ivelez Explains It All by Andrea Beatriz Arango. 7th grade is going to be Ivelez's year. She's going to make a new friend, help her abuela Mimi get settled after moving from Puerto Rico, and she is not going to get in any more trouble at school. Except, is that what happens? Of course not, because no matter how hard Ivelez tries, sometimes people say things that just make her so mad. And worse, Mimi keeps saying Ivelez's medicine is unnecessary, even though it helps Ivelez feel less sad. But how do you explain your feelings to others when you're not even sure what's going on yourself? Also on September 13th in the U.S., The Gingerbread Witch by Alexandra Overy. Maud has grown up in a house made of gingerbread, wanting nothing more than to be a witch like Mother Agatha. But just like all of Agatha's creations, from the magical house made of sweets to the chocolate mousse squirrel, right down to the little sugar mice, Maud will turn back into a gingerbread if anything ever happens to Agatha. After a terrible fight, Maud storms off only to return home to learn that Hansel and Gretel, a pair of witch hunters, have pushed Agatha into the cottage's oven. To save herself and the other gingerbread creations, Maud will have to go into the dangerous forest of the Shaylands to find the first witch's spellbook. But with witch hunters on her trail and other people interested in the book for their own means, it'll be far from easy. Can Maud claim the book and bring back the only other means she's ever known? Or will witch hunter capture her before she can save her gingerbread family? I've been so excited for this for so long. I'm so happy it's going to finally be out. And just like reimagining or continuation after Hansel and Gretel, and like, it's just so excited. Also on September 13th in the US, Apartment 713 by Kevin Sylvester. Jake Simmons hates his new home. The Regency is nothing more than floor after floor of peeling wallpaper and faded glory. Jake misses his old life. He misses the time when his mother was employed. He misses living in a house where the wind doesn't make the windows whistle. Loneliness and a trail of kittens leads Jake to the apartment of an elderly lady, then to the bowels of the building, and then to a part-time job assisting Larry the custodian. With each passing day, the building reveals more of its mysteries to Jake. The occupants grow on him too. Unfortunately, Jake's feelings of belonging is short-lived. The city plans to demolish the Regency. Jake feels powerless, and then fate throws him a curveball. He's summoned to Apartment 713, an apartment he's been told is off limits, but when he opens the door, he travels to the past. Alongside Beth, his new friend and guide, Jake begins searching for any clue that might help him save the Regency. As their friendship blooms, the mystery around the building's makers deepens. The Regency's own storied past will give Jake the key to saving his own future, if only he knows where to look. So on September 13th in the U.S., Windswept by Margie Prius. In Tag's world, children are disappearing. Youngers who venture outside are windswept, vanishing into the swirling snow. Tag's sisters among them. Many have tried to find the lost children and failed. And since the other times, the powers that be seem intent on keeping it that way. Little remains from those times, snippets of songs, heaps of plastic trash, and a few banned texts, including a book of fairy tales. And unlike the crew of Youngers, join forces. Boots, who can climb anything, Ant, who will eat anything, Wren, who will say anything, and Tag, who doesn't appear to have any talent whatsoever. With their dubious skills, the fairy tales, a possibly magic ribbon, and an unwillingness to accept that's impossible, they set off to rescue their windswept siblings in the spellbinding fantasy. Gorgeous cover and sounds really great. Also on September 13th in the U.S., Where You've Got to Be by Caroline Gertler. Nellie's sister Lyndon may be only 14 months older than she is, but suddenly that feels longer than it ever has before. Lyndon is growing up. She cuts short their cousin's week at Grandma's beach cottage to focus on excelling in her ballet auditions, and she throws away the seashell necklace Grandma gave each of them, though Nolly secretly saves it. Even Nolly's best friend, Jessa, is suddenly trying to act older and cooler, and she wants Nolly to be someone different too. With everything and everyone changing around her, Nolly starts to feel adrift. Should she be changing too? What does she want to be? One impulsive decision leads to another and another until Nolly has a secret collection of things that don't belong to her. Now Nolly must face the fact that she may have ended up on the wrong path so she can start to find her way back. Sounds like an important story. Also on September 13th in the U.S., The Stars Did Wander Darkly by Colin Malloy. All of a sudden, the most ordinary things have taken on a sinister edge. A penny on a... Maybe Archie Coombs has been watching too many horror movies. All of a sudden, the most ordinary things have taken on a sinister edge. A penny on a doormat, a man in a brown suit under a street lamp, the persistent sound of an axe chopping in the middle of the night. He keeps telling himself that this is Seaham, a sleepy seaside town where nothing ever happens. Or at least nothing did until his dad's construction company opened up the cliff beneath the old, some say crushed, Langdon place. Soon, though, he and his friends can't deny it. More and more of the adults in town are acting strangely. An ancient, long-buried evil has been unleashed upon the community, and it's up to the kids to stop it before it's too late. Also on September 13th in the U.S., Monster Club by Darren Aronofsky and HAHN. Like almost everything an 11-year-old Eric Doodle's King's life, King's Wonderland, the amusement park his great-great-grandfather founded, was seriously damaged when a hurricane hit his beloved Coney Island neighborhood. Now hungry property developers are circling the wreckage of the once awesome King's Wonderland, and Eric's family is falling apart from the threat of losing it all. If it weren't for Monster Club, the epic role-playing game that Eric and his friends created, Eric's life would be pretty terrible. Drawing his favorite monster, battling with his best friend's creation is one thing that still gets Eric excited, so when his friends start thinking Monster Club as a kid's game and get more interested in other things, Eric just can't deal. But then Eric happens across a long-lost vial of magic ink that brings their monster drawings to life, and suddenly Monster Club isn't just for fun anymore. The monsters Eric and his friends created are wreaking havoc across Coney, and it's on the Monster Club to save their city, the amusement park, and maybe, just maybe, Eric's family too. So intrigued by that. Also on September 13th in the U.S., The Inkwell Chronicles, The Ink of Elspeth by J.D. Peabody. When their father goes missing after a mysterious train crash, Everett and his little sister Bee find a curious pen in his belongings, and its magical ink begins to rewrite their once ordinary lives. The ink leads them to a world they never knew existed, one teeming with impossible magic, formidable allies, and villains who are determined to destroy everything they hold dear. Together, Everett and Bee embark on an adventure through secret tunnels in England and Scotland to find and protect the last inkwell, and ultimately to save their father. But in order to do so, Everett must find a way to tap into the most magical power of all, his courage. Also on September 13th in the U.S., Cupcake Diaries, Katie and the Cupcake Cure by Coco Simone. It's an adaptation of best-selling Cupcake Diary series. Katie is miserable when her best friend is invited to join the Popular Girl Club and Katie is left out. Is there an unpopular girls club she can join? Luckily, Katie finds her way with a great new group of friends, Mia, Emma, and Alexis, and together they become the Cupcake Club. Sometimes starting from scratch turns out to be the icing on the cupcake. The art looks beautiful and it sounds so cute. And that was the last one for September 13th. I think that's all I'm going to do for this video. It's already getting kind of long and I'm already kind of over it. It's just not been a good day. So I'm very excited about all these releases, and I'll do a part 2 with the rest. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Did you see any that you're excited about? Let me know in the comments. If you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.